The much-anticipated fifth installment of the Toy Story franchise has reportedly been in the works, with Woody and Buzz coming back. The big surprise arrived in the form of speculation in recent days, with talks of Andy's return, the original owner of the toys, which no one expected. Pixar's Toy Story 3 appeared to be the ideal way to wrap up the franchise when it was released in 2010. Many of the children who watched the first Toy Story were about to embark on the same journey as Andy, who was going to college. To move on and grow up, he had to give his toys to Bonnie, who he knew would look after them. It seemed as though an era was coming to an end as Woody bid Andy farewell.
The thing that makes Woody special is he'll never give up on you.
However, with the release of Toy Story 4, that was changed. Andrew Stanton revealed some important details at D23 this year that many fans are very excited about, despite the skepticism of some fans who were unimpressed by their inadequate reaction to Toy Story 4. The recently disclosed plot of Toy Story 5 roughly confirms the film's location within the franchise's timeline and paves the way for the return of Woody and Buzz Lightyear's former owner in the upcoming sequel. One of the D23 announcements for Toy Story 5 was the plot of the film. Although there are still very few real looks at the movie, one image that has been made public supports the director Andrew Stanton's claim that the franchise was inspired by a real-life struggle. On June 19, 2026, Toy Story 5 will be released in theaters, adding to the already impressive library of Pixar sequels. Since Stanton's explanation of the upcoming story is largely based on a current event, many viewers will find it compelling. In addition to providing Andy with the simple means of returning to the franchise after only making an appearance in flashbacks in Toy Story 4, the fourth Toy Story sequel introduces something that will permanently alter the fictional universe. The time jumps are common in the Toy Story films, and this trend is still present. In Toy Story 5, Bonnie will be playing with the characters and they will compete for attention. The situation is different from Andy's conflict in the first film, though, when he was fighting for Andy's affection after Buzz showed up. As an alternative, Toy Story 5 leaps into the age of tablets and other smart gadgets. Since the events of Toy Story 4 took place in 2007, it will take at least 3 years for Toy Story 5 to be released, and tablets weren't commercially available until 2010. It's interesting to note that tablets weren't popular right away. It took some time for them to make their way into the market, and it took even longer for them to become so popular among kids' entertainment. Therefore, the gap between Toy Story 4 and 5 might be longer than it seems. If this is the case, the upcoming sequel might be set in the middle of the decade, which would further align the timeline of the universe with reality. Bonnie's preference for using her tablet over playing with her toys shows how much can change at this point. If Andy doesn't return, Toy Story 5 would be the first film without him, but the upcoming time jump makes his return entirely possible, particularly with children. Andy's tearful farewell in Toy Story 3 is a classic. Even now, many viewers cry as he leaves for college and gives his incredible collection of toys to Bonnie, who assures them that they will have a good time, just like Andy did when he was younger. Although the scene was intended to provide closure, and it was reasonable to presume that Andy's time in Toy Story 4 was over, he would still appear.
Anything you're not taking to college either goes in the attic or it's trash.
Although aside from flashbacks, the former owner of Woody doesn't actually make an appearance in the fourth movie. His presence lingers as a ghost in the mind of a troubled Woody who's trying to move on from the time spent with him. Woody letting go of Andy isn't one of the many psychological closures that Toy Story 4 brought about. He did become a lost toy in the sense that he had no legal owner, and this idea is likely to lead to a lot of incredible adventures with Bo Peep and his new group of friends. However, the cowboy will have to set out on a new, profoundly psychological journey of self-discovery if he is confronted again by the boy who made him the happiest toy in the world. Since Bonnie outgrew him first, it was easier for him to leave her, but Andy began a new life while still grieving for his previous one. The conflicting emotions Woody would have to deal with are sufficient to give the film the nuanced emotional context that Pixar's audience is used to. Furthermore, many people might anticipate that Andy's children would inherit the toys as a complete circle with with the potential for them to appear in Toy Story 5. More evident but no less significant is the message, which suggests that toys will continue to be passed down to each new generation. Reusing old dolls for younger children rather than continuously purchasing new ones is a good point made by this. Woody may have to choose between living his new life according to his own rhythm and trying to relive his best moments with Andy's children. The first and most evident argument against Andy coming back in the 5th movie is that it might alter the plot of Toy Story 3 and 4. Even those who yearn for Andy's return might find it absurd, and the work put into Woody's personal journey in Andy's last scene could be diminished with a few forgettable scenes. Not all of the ideas in the earlier installments, of course, made it to the big screen. The protagonist balance in the movie is upset, which is another dangerous effect of bringing Andy back. In the earlier ones, each character was assigned a distinct role. The 4th movie was a little out of balance in comparison to the first 3, which did a fantastic job of giving the main characters a significant mission, story, or arc in each story. With Forky taking center stage and others taking on supporting roles, Toy Story 4 is primarily about Woody. To make Buzz Lightyear, Jessie, and the gang useful supporting characters with their goals, Toy Story 5 may need to fix this. Andy's return could bring his relationship with Woody back into the spotlight, which was already done to the detriment of characters who should have been given more depth. The greater question of whether a 5th Toy Story could destroy the enchantment of one of Disney Pixar's greatest masterpieces is what lies behind Andy's potential comeback. It's challenging to strike a balance between nostalgia and new ideas, and the stakes are higher for products that people love. Fans will keep speaking out about Toy Story 5 as more information becomes available, protecting the narrative about their beloved toys. Disney is a master of its craft, so even though the new film could make mistakes, it also has a chance to become another cult classic. This new interpretation may offer a fresh approach to giving these characters the satisfying endings they deserve, as Toy Story 4 left some fans disappointed. Though there is plenty of material to work with, it's unlikely that any of these other characters will receive their own spin-offs given Lightyear's underwhelming performance. Toy Story 5 will have to surpass Toy Story 3 if it is to be the final conclusion. It's possible that Sid, the bully antagonist from the first film, will return. He is, after all, a tinkerer and the only human character who is aware that toys are alive. In the film, he might be responsible for creating apps that are so enticing that children choose them over their toys. That could be entertaining if done correctly, but it could also be conspiratorial. Or perhaps Sid will play a hero. In his brief appearance as a trash collector in Toy Story 3, he comes across as fairly innocent. In any case, his appearance in the finished movie would be a nice bookend. People frequently mention Toy Story when talking about their favorite films. The impact of the original film was so great that fans are still honoring it with works like a bizarre stereo mod that substitutes Woody for the protagonist and a concept for Toy Story video game with hyper-realistic graphics. Although Toy Story 5 is expected to meet high expectations, fans are excited about Woody's return and want to see how the franchise will continue to modernize how children play today. The plotline and how Andy, his family, and Woody will return have not yet been confirmed by Pixar or Disney. Even though it was quite an emotional gut punch when they said their heartfelt goodbyes, the prospect of this nostalgic reunion is enough to captivate us in Toy Story 5. Even though Woody told Andy, "So long, partner," the fans would like to play with him for a little while longer. See you in the next video.